Good morning. Hello, fourth graders. Welcome to our robotics class. This is week 12. So you have now had 2 weeks to choose a robot and then go on the internet and find 3 sources. So you're looking for 3 websites where you can gather information and do some research about your robot. So thank you. I did receive, I'm just looking at my sheet right now. I believe I received everybody's robot choice except for 3 people that didn't send it to me. So I believe you know who you are. There's 3 of you who did not send me your choice of robot and your sources. Okay, so you were supposed to open it inside of Google Docs, and then I gave you a list. So if you remember, I have it here in my file. I gave you guys this list of different robot companies that you could click on, and then you could find a robot that interests you the most that you want to do your research project on. And then you were supposed to type it in here, the name of your robot, and then go on to the Google Safe Search. So I believe I showed everybody how to use that. This was the Safe Search Kids. And then you can type in your robot and you can look for websites that look like they have a good amount of information that you could use for your research project. So again, if you're one of those 3 people who didn't send it in, you really need to get it done this week, because now we're moving on to part 2. And if you don't do part 1, you can't do part 2, right? So like I was telling you guys, this project is building upon each of the parts. So we started off, what I'm trying to teach you is a bunch of different things, but I'm trying to teach you how to do a research project. And then I'm also trying to teach you how to use technology to do your research project. And so that includes doing the actual research and then making the project, right? And we're going to be using a special program for that. But we're not getting to that until the 3rd part. So today I'm going to be going over the 2nd part with you. And this is actually doing the research. So now you have a good start, right? Because you should already have the name of your robot, and then you have 3 websites that you can visit. And then you'll be able to go to those websites and actually find the information, right? So now this week, I'm going to show you the questions that you're going to be researching. So everybody was going to get, I'm going to share it in Google Docs with you guys, this Google Doc here, and it's called Robotics Research Project Part 2. And I'll make it a little bit bigger so you can all see it here. So it says, use your sources to research and answer the questions below. You can use short bullet points to answer the questions. So that means you do not need to type a full sentence. You can just kind of make your notes, because when we are researching, we are reading different articles, reading websites, and then we're taking the information and we are summarizing it. We're paraphrasing, we're taking it and we're kind of putting it into shorter little bullet points, summarizing what we learned about whatever it was that we were researching, right? So something that we would never do is copy and paste an entire, passage from a website into our research doc. Why wouldn't we do that? Well, because that's plagiarism. We're copying their work and then we're taking it as our own. And so that's why we started out with the sources first, because you always want to include, well, where did you find this information, right? Because you can't just go to a website and copy and paste something and then just put your name on it. That wouldn't be right, because you just took all that information and said that, oh yeah, I just came up with this. Well, where did you get it from, right? So you need to be able to give credit to the source where you got it from. So that's why when you are doing research, you're allowed to use short bullet points summarizing what you read. That's okay. And then putting your source down so we know, oh, okay. For example, maybe you're using the robot Spot and you're going on to the Boston Dynamics website, and then you're finding some information and you're putting a few bullet points summarizing it. And then you are saying, I got this from the Boston Dynamics website. So in that case, that would be fine, because you're saying where you got it from, right? So here's what you're going to be doing. Name of the robot. So you're going to put your name. So let's pretend we use Spot. So that part would be done. Now, purpose of the robot. What does the robot do? So you would go back. So let's pretend we're doing Spot. So I'm just going to click on one of the websites. Okay. Let's pretend this was one of my sources that I chose. And I'm going to start reading through it and looking for, well, what does Spot do? Right? So what can Spot do? Here we go. Perfect thing. Spot can walk, trot, avoid obstacles, climb stairs. So I would start putting some bullet points here. Spot can walk, run, climb stairs, avoid obstacles. So I'm just starting to fill in my questions. It says that, what else? So we know that it has legs powered by 12 custom motors. So that's interesting. A top speed of 1.6 meters per second. The robot can operate for 90 minutes on a charge. So that also is really good. So I would be looking for some other things that I might need. So if you can look through all your questions here. So I'm trying to just do this quickly, but you're going to take more time on this. What company makes the robot? So we know it's Boston Dynamics. If you want to include where they're located in Boston, Massachusetts. And so that's a pretty easy question. How does this robot help people and the world? So you might need to do a little bit more research, and you might need to really think about it, reading about it. How do you control Spot? How much does Spot cost? Can Spot do mapping? So that's interesting. The robot's perception system includes cameras and 3D sensors. So it says that it will be able to do mapping and autonomous navigation. So that's also interesting too. So it has a lot that it can do. You really do have to read up on these things and then try to think, well, how can this help people? So we have to think, well, I wonder what Spot can do. Can Spot bring things from one place to another place? You might need to watch some videos and get a little bit more information to try to figure out, why do you think Spot, or how is Spot helpful to people, right? And then some other questions here are talking about, if you remember, energy, movement, sensing, intelligence. These were the 4 characteristics of robots. So you're going to look for, how does it get its energy? Does it use batteries? How does it move? Does it have wheels or legs? So we know that for Spot, 4 legs, right? We know that Spot has 4 legs. What about sensing? Does it have a camera, a motion sensor, a touch sensor? How does it gain intelligence? What type of computer does it have? I saw a bunch of those answers in this article again. I think I remember it was up here. It says that it has cameras and 3D sensors. So I would start adding that in. As soon as you see information, cameras, 3D sensors. So you see, I'm just kind of listing the things as I find them. So again, you do have to really do some reading up. Use your 3 sources. If you're not finding the answers in the 3 sources, then go to a different source. So maybe click a different website and see if you're like, oh gosh, I can't really figure out how this thing helps anybody. And you're like trying to read a little bit more about it. Wow, so the Spot robot costs $74,500. Wow, that's crazy. And there's a video you can watch about it too. Product highlights. Oh, so here's some of the things that it can do. It can inspect dangerous, inaccessible, and remote environments. So that's definitely helping people. It can automate data collection on your site. It can carry payloads on unstructured or unknown terrain. Wow. So these are all definitely helpful things. So it can inspect dangerous environments. That's definitely helping the world. So you could put a little bullet point here. Inspect dangerous environments. So see, I had to go to a different article to find out more information about Spot. So again, you'll have to really read through and try to figure out the answers to these. What's included? So this includes, so it uses a battery and a charger. This robot uses 2 spot batteries and a spot charger. So you want to add that for batteries here. That would be under energy. So it uses 2 spot batteries, and then it also comes with a spot charger. So that's very important. That would be your energy. So again, you could look through here and see what else. It has some FAQs. What is spot? Why would I want a legged robot? So that also is helping you to figure it out. So it says it can navigate tough, unstructured, unknown terrain. So that's also helpful. What are customers doing with Spot? So this is how it might be helping. So they're using it in construction, electric utility, public safety, healthcare, mining, entertainment. So you want to include this in how it's helping the world. And then let's see, specs, that'll give you some more things about it. So its length, it gives you its width, its height, type of battery charger. It can also use Wi-Fi, so we know that that's also helpful. Wow, there's a lot on here. So you guys can look through and say a little bit more about it. So this is really what it comes down to, is when you're researching something, it takes time, right? You don't just go to one website and just copy everything on there and just put it in. You have to actually read, right? And learn yourself about what you're researching, and then fill in the information, right? Along your sheet. So there aren't too many questions. It's the name of your robot. What does the robot do? What company makes the robot? How does the robot help people in the world? So you might need to really do a little bit digging for that one. Sharing about each of the 4 categories: energy, movement, sensing, intelligence. So you just can put a few things about those. And then list 3 fun facts about your robot. So again, you'll have to look in an article, find something fun about it, right? Like Spot is supposed to kind of look like a little dog, right? Like a robot dog. So that's kind of a fun fact. So I would say for you guys this week, please set aside some time where you can actually go into the 3 sources. You can read them, you can do your research, and then type the answers to the questions in this Google Doc and share it with me. So your goal is to answer all of these questions this week with some short bullet points answering them. So you do not, again, you're not putting full long sentences and copying and pasting paragraphs. No, you're putting short bullet points summarizing what you learned after reading your 3 sources, right? That's what really research is. So I hope that this is helping you to learn more about what that is. And we're starting to really build upon, we're taking this project in steps, and it's helping you guys to learn how to do a research project and then to put it all together, which we will eventually get to. And that will be the fun part, because we'll be able to put it together into something that's beautiful and be able to share it with each other, which is going to be after the Christmas break. So this whole project, we're going to be working on it over the next couple of weeks, and the finished project is going to be due after the Christmas break. And then my hope is to have a fun way to put it all together. And so that way you can see each other's projects, and we'll spend like a week sharing them. But I don't want to jump ahead. We can't do that until you do the research, right? So this week, your assignment for robotics is to open this Google Doc, which I'm going to be sharing with you. Go to your 3 sources that you found in your part 1. Go to those websites, those 3 sources, and start to answer the questions for part 2, all of these questions, and fill them in with short bullet points, and then share it with me so I can look it over and make sure that I'm probably going to make some notes. I might even ask you to do a little bit more research if you're lacking in some of the questions. And so I'm helping you guys to learn how to build up your research to really present a strong project to somebody, because you have to imagine. So when you're presenting something, you have to think about your audience, right? Who you're presenting to. And a lot of the times, like say in this case, we're presenting to our classmates, and they're not going to know anything about your robot because they chose a different robot. I mean, unless you chose the same one, but I think mostly everybody chose different ones. So you're presenting to somebody who doesn't know anything about your robot. So you have to try to pick out the main points about your robot that you want to share with the other students, right? Because they're your audience and you want them to learn something about your robot. So by the time they're done listening to your presentation, they're going to say, oh, okay, wow, I learned about this cool robot named blah, 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 and I know what it does, right? And then they're starting to expand their awareness of the different robots. So when you're answering these questions in the research project, make sure you're choosing out the main points about your robot, the important parts about your robot, and you're sharing them here in the doc, okay? And please reach out right away if you have any questions, you're confused, you don't know how to do it. I would like you to reach out as soon as possible so I can help you, okay? We can always go over it together, no problem, okay? I really just want you guys to be understanding and having fun with this, because research should be fun. You should love learning about new things. That's the greatest thing about learning is you could pick anything, right? Like here, you could pick any robot and learn about it. And so my hope is that that's fun for you guys, right? Okay, so I'm just going to end here. So hopefully this isn't too long, and then you can spend the next week. So this will be due in 1 week. So we'll make that be due on December 9th. Okay, so I need this by December 9th. And so that way I can look it over and then we can move on to the next part. I will like it before the 9th, so maybe the 8th. Just because then I can look it over at before the class and then let anybody know if you need to make any changes. All right. Okay, so I'll be sending this all in an email and then you guys can work on it this week. Alrighty? Okay, bye guys. Have a good day.